All right, everybody. Got another episode here with my family, MiRage. I'm very blessed to have you here on the show today. I do want to go very quickly and talk about our sponsors for the show today. So, not surprisingly, sponsored by this food, 7 lessons for burros and bag chasers. You could catch it on Amazon or at a dope bookstore near you. This was the book that urban youth, street intellectuals, and ghetto nerds have been anticipating. Written by my homie SGN and myself. Okay, this book teaches 7 timeless lessons using relatable language in order to unpack practical wisdom. Family, I hope you guys tap into it. Let me know what you think. So, Mirage, man, one more time, man. Thank you for being here on the show, man. I really appreciate you taking some time out of the day to share some wisdom. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying with
Definitely.
the family, man. I think that's one thing that's very important in our time today of mass information. You know, just because there's information, it doesn't really make it knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that try to swim in the sea of information, and man, we get lost in the sauce, bro. What do you have any skills, bro, that we can unpack here real quick that we can utilize to be able to find credibility, validity, or be able to separate nonsense from solid knowledge?
Yeah, I think it's for me it's lived experience, like right. I think that's the number one thing. You're when you have lived experience, you're going through it. So it's like nobody else can tell you what not. I had really dope mentors when I was in college, because I went to school at UC Santa Cruz. So I had a lot of dope mentors out there. Um, that just put me on game with like a lot of the different things, right? Being from East Los, like a lot of our problems and issues are very centered around brown folks, right? And then I didn't know all the intersectionalities until I started meeting black folks up north and just started like meeting people outside of just brown folks, to be honest. So I think that's where I like get most of my knowledge from. Lived experiences and talking to people, I think, is the biggest way that you can like sort of drown out some of that misinformation. Like you said, there's so much so much information that you can make up things to build cases around certain things, right? That's been harmful to all communities of color, and we end up perpetuating that within our subgroups, right? Latinos talk about black folks talk, like within every other race or ethnic background. uh you have a lot of folks who are misinterpreting things because obviously they're like, I think the biggest misinformation we were taught as kids are stereotypes, right? So stereotypes being the biggest driver. People think that folks are aligned with all these things, not knowing that there's a whole subset group within those communities, right? There's nerds within our community. There's fools who bang within our community. There's fools who are athletes within our community, and it's a mix of everything, right? And even within those fools who bang, there's nerds there too. Those fools are banging, watching Naruto, like Naruto, like all these different things. So I think for me, the thing that helps me separate things is like lived experience and learning from people directly,
Mm.
as opposed to like, let me look something up about this group and see how they need help, instead of being like, well, how do they need help, right? I think the way that I can best translate it is like when folks say like when people outside of different communities say like brown people need this, and it's
Mm.
like, well, how do you know that if we're not telling you that that's what we need,
Mm.
right? So I think that's for me the biggest takeaway. I like to interact and communicate with people. I think that's something that, as even as a kid, it's probably one of my gifts that was given to me by a higher power. But I'm able to relate, or at least listen to folks, right, before I start speaking, um, which has been a blessing in various different discussions that I've had.
Man, that's powerful, bro. The idea of like that grassroots organization and energy where you're willing to just walk alongside people and listen, like like with that intention of being like, I'm not here to install my program. I'm here to help you develop your own program. And honestly, bro, I think overall that's one thing that it has forever been missing in like higher level of politics that affect everyone.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're down to be able to talk to people at whatever level they are,
Yeah.
that's really what makes the difference, right?
Mhm.
And I like that example of how like we got some homies that are a little bit of everything, right? Like nerds, gangbanging, and an athlete, and a musician, and a poet. You know, like I love the idea of bro of us no longer being mischaracterized by these big entities such as media sources, right? Where they depict like a gangbanger as like a fucking like an idiot, you know, and only being an idiot. I mean, I'm partially an idiot, you know, and I'll fucking be like, yeah, that was fucking stupid, you know, my bad, right? So give me 1 second.
Pops.
Yeah, they're like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm like, I'm busy right now. Um, Bro, another thing that you said that I find fascinating that I can also relate to was growing up in an environment where there's only like Latinos, right? Predominantly Huntington Park was or is Mexican, and then there's like some Central Americans as well, whether it's Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, right? That's like the cluster of people. But when I went to East LA College, that was like my first time when I really started interacting with, you know, Black folks, melanated folks, well, darker skinned melanated folks. And so I was interacting with them from the athletic standpoint on the football team. So, you know, unfortunately, we do grow up in a lot of ignorance, right? So we have all these like perceptions, right? Stereotypical perceptions. And they kind of did affect me, right? At the very beginning. But that's what I love about proximity towards different groups, right? And one thing that I think is super important that we don't have in our neighborhoods because we self-segregate for, I'm sure you can kind of speak to maybe some of those reasons, but being able to be close to different ethnic groups is super important in understanding each other, you know, and kind of breaking down those barriers that have been existing for a long time. And I got lucky that I got to do it through sports because I think sports is one of those lanes that's special in a way where like I don't know. Do you remember watching the film? It was a Disney film. Remember the Titans?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That was a special film, bro. Like I remember being young, like very, very young, and watching that. And obviously, like I've always been into history, so I was aware, obviously, of the oppression that Black folks have faced. So I remember seeing that film and being like, "Yo, like football really like destroyed the personal level of racism between these white boys and these Black boys." You know, so I thought that was just a special thing, and I was able to really, really connect to that. Obviously, many, many years down the line. But how about you, bro? How were you able to? What was your experience leaving this neighborhood that's so full of, you know, Latinos, and then for the first time being interact with whether it was Black folks, Arab folks, you know, Indian folks, or whoever that was different?
Yeah. For me, it was college. So college. I mean, I went to Santa Cruz, which is it's a white institute. Like I could attest to that. But you did have your pockets of everything, right? So I met a lot of folks from the Bay who happened to be Black. I met folks from LA who happened to be like Black. I met a lot of Black Muslim brothers. I met a lot of Indian folks. I met a lot of foreign folks through the foreign exchange programs at the campus. So I met a lot of like Korean folks, Chinese folks, all these folks that I, for me, I have close proximity to a lot of Asian folks. When I went to school in high school, it was very split, right? It was, I think I wouldn't say like 60% Mexican, 40% Asian, because I live close to Monterey Park too. I'm in East LA, but I border Monterey Park, Montebello, Commerce. So for me, I've already seen Asian folks, right? And have
Mm.
had those conversations with certain folks. Maybe not to the level, a deep level of like, what makes us different, why should we should accept each other's differences type thing. It was for us, it's just like, that's the homie. I know you as a homie. I don't really care about anything outside of that. But then when I went to college, I was like, there's an importance in recognizing people's cultures, right? Just because we're
Mm.
different doesn't mean that, you know, there's a lot of people who are colorblind and say, I don't see it, I don't see color, which I think obviously is, I get the intention, but the impact that you make of saying that is
Mm.
not one that folks take lightly, right? Because then it's like, so you don't see who I am, you don't notice the differences that make me who I am. You could still accept people for who they are, as different as they are. So it wasn't until I went to college where I'm taking classes with folks. I'm also having similar experiences with with just all of the students of color on campus, right? With how we're treated in the classroom, and how there's this sort of voyeurism that happens within that academics, right? uh, I remember being in class and we're talking about the walkouts, right? And I didn't really learn about the walkouts throughout school. They just put up the walkout movie, and that's your history lesson, right? You don't get it to hear about you don't. There's really no in-depth conversations around what Aslan means, what all these things are, right? So it wasn't until college, and then the teacher's like, "So how do you feel about it?" And I'm like, tell them, right? But then like it became a constant, like, let's ask him to be like this representative, or they'll ask
Mm.
other students to be representatives. And it's like, we don't, not all of us experience these things. It's also an overgeneralization of all brown folks are poor, right?
Mm.
There's brown folks within every spectrum within economics. Yes, a majority of us are poor. Like that's we could all agree on that, right? But there I met like different folks from different statuses as well.
Mm.
So you're taking all these things into account. But I think it was the shared experiences that we had, right? All of for most part, the POC students were broke as fuck. They all had to work. Most of my white counterparts didn't have to work. They didn't have to get a campus job. They didn't have to do that stuff.
Must have been nice.
Yeah, it must have been nice. Not saying all the folks didn't have a job,
Of course.
but a majority of us were brown and black. So you got to see those, and you're like, oh shit, like why is it that we have this shared experience? Why is it that we're going through very similar things? And it's because not many of us are in those institutions. Not many of us make it out of where we're from into those spaces, right? Um, However you may think, some people think that it's very it's a planned thing, it's an ordeal. For me, there's parts of me that think it's very structured. That's the way that you get to profit over certain things, right? The less that we know, the more people get to take advantage of us as a collective of people. um yeah, so I think working and doing all those things, and just overall just experiencing similar things, not the same obviously, because we're not, one person's going to be experience the same thing as another person. Even within the same, even if you're within the same community, right? Your experience might be different from mine, but we're fairly close as far as community goes, right? HP is not that far from East LA. And and my mom grew up there, so I was always there to go visit my grandma and stuff like that. So a lot of folks look like me, or a darker shade of me, right? Like
Or even lighter.
or even lighter,
Yeah.
exactly. So it wasn't until college that I was like, oh, we're not the only ones who experience this.
Mm.
It's more than just us. So like that's how I was able to break down a lot of the things, right? um which is dope, but also like can be what's the word, not depressing, but very I don't know. It's like melancholy, right? You're like,
Mm.
you're happy to be there, but then you're also getting treated a certain way. So it's like, should I be grateful that I'm here, or should like you're trying to find your voice within these spaces too? Like, should I say something, or should I not say something? Because then somebody will retaliate by giving me a grade, that a non-passing grade, right?
Mm.
And then you're thinking, I'm paying so much into this, like I need to pass this class. So do I step up, step down? Where do I fall into these things,
Mm.
right? Um, so I think college for me was the space where I got to branch off and meet different people, experience different things, recognize the intersectionalities between all POC communities, right? The differences between our communities, whether it be black, brown, uh, yellow, or however people identify, right? And I know that some people identify, PC culture has made it to where some folks are like, no, I still identify with that other thing that you call me, right? So understanding and allowing people to identify themselves, first of all, was a big thing for me. It's like uh, I don't put a label onto you. You can put it onto you, and I can, like, just like the word Hispanic, right? Or Latinx, or now it's Latina, right? A lot of folks can't relate to these things, but it's like, how do you self-identify in all these things, right? Because it shouldn't matter to me how you identify. If that's how you identify, it's the same. I put it in this way, right? There's fathers, there's mothers who have a little girl and they call her princess, and I'm like, your daughter's not technically a princess, but you still call her princess, right? It's a made up. It's this thing that you make up because it's a sign of affection. So I'm like, it's no different from folks choosing to identify themselves, whether it be sexually, gender wise, or I wouldn't say racially, because that's a little weird. Transracial things are super weird to me. But all these things that people can self-identify as, that we don't really need to have control over. Like those are the spaces I was in for the most part. I'm like, all right, this person identifies as this. Why does it matter to me? Like, it's not gonna affect my life. It's not gonna affect the money that comes in that I need to sustain myself, right? But I also was respecting those boundaries that people were putting, because if I have those and I share them, I would hope people would respect those as well.
Bro, being able to connect with people through trauma is so real. And it's like it's slightly comical and we get to laugh about it, right? It's obviously not fucking funny, but being able to connect with people based on your class and being able to be like, yo, dude, you're in a whole different part of the country, but you were chasing after the paletero or the corn man, right? Because that's what people that are not from our culture say, that it's like the corn guy, right? So it's kind of one of those, like you called it, right? You used the great word melancholy. There's pain, but it eases away, right? And at the end of that pain, you feel there's a common thread, and that thread is ultimately what unites us, what tethers us together. And once you're tethered together, you realize that there's a unity, there's a strength, there's a color to the quilt that you're just like, holy shit, like this is awesome, right? Where the term solidarity comes into play, which is a whole different discussion, right? Where people feel many different types of way about it. But for at least from our perspective, I think we can totally agree, right, that the best way to fight a certain power is by, dude, utilizing our intelligence, our resources, our numbers, and then just unifying that, right? And there's been so many examples through history where by creating chaos, right, within our building, then you separate people, right? And the more separation there is between us, the easier we're going to be to be manipulated. When you spoke about being in school and having the fear of retaliation from not speaking up, I think that's such a strong topic, because we have to make a decision, right? We are always having to make a decision, whether it's at work, whether it's at school. Like, we're being pigeon-held against our truest sentiments, which is why I'm a fan of being fully independent. Obviously, not everyone has that privilege. Not everyone has the skills or the abilities to be able to create these independent news sources or schools and so on. But if we get lucky, right, and we get a lot of support, we can manage to do that, right? And at that point, man, I could just totally, man, the amount of times I wanted to tell some type of like boss or something like, fuck you, you know what I mean? But you can't, because you got to make sure that you're, playing the good role, because I want to make sure that I get my scholarship, or I want to make sure that I keep my benefits, or I want to make sure that my children have their health care, right? So of course, overall would love to be 100% independent and just be so free. I mean, that's what I think it's all about for me, is aiming to be so free where nobody can really control me. Now, that also takes a lot of discipline, right? Because at that point, I'm so free, I might start saying crazy shit, you know? I think one person that comes to mind for me is like Kanye West. Kanye West is someone who I'm enthralled by, someone who inspires me, someone that I truly love musically. But sometimes he says things that I'm just like, whoa, dude, that's like far left field, but he's free, right? So he shows that dynamic of what it means to be what I consider to be like a free man, So I don't even think that even then it's easy, because now you're situated in a place where there's gonna be people who love you and there's gonna be people who strongly dislike you. So as a musician, bro, who do you garner inspiration from? Certain genres of music? Do you garner inspiration from certain artists? What moves you to make your music? Which, by the way, in a little bit, if you don't mind, I'd like to play some excerpts from some of your songs.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think for me, the biggest inspiration is life. Like, to be like, as cliche as that may sound, but I think life is the biggest inspiration. And then from, life you experience, artists. So I grew up on Kanye, I grew up on The Game, 50 Cent, a lot of early 2000 stuff. Then I started, when I went to high school, I started getting into like a Tribe Called Quest. Um, I got into the Jungle Brothers. I got into the Fugees, a little bit of Rage, and then now a lot of what I listen to is like Kendrick, J. Cole, Isaiah Rashad. I listen to a lot of oldies. That's how me and my pops connected, like with music, is a lot of oldies. I listen to a lot of cumbias, merengue, like
Mm.
so pretty much like everything that's within my culture inspires me too. So for me, it's all those little things, and then life, of course. Like in my music, I'm trying to tell my story, and sometimes it's a collective story, sometimes it's an individual story, but nonetheless, it's a story that comes from just living life. Um, so yeah, I guess life is the biggest inspiration. That's where I get most of my inspiration from.
Man, that's deep, bro. That's deep. I strongly relate to that feeling, bro. Sometimes I like to say that the trees inspire me. Look, I'm not even lying, bro. Earlier in my backyard, I started noticing that my peach tree is blossoming. So it looks so gorgeous, aesthetically. So I went and I grabbed the branches and I said, "Yo, I'm so proud of you." you know and in my conversation with this tree, I just felt like a real exchange of, I see you, I respect you, I love you. And it's still just life.
Yeah,
Or you hear the birds chirping and they're flying and you see them all in unison, and you start realizing that there's like this perfect, that all creatures are perfect. They're perfectly created. And so if nature is perfectly created, I think that so are we, right? But we're giving all these programs and thoughts and ideas of how we're not, that they diminish us, which is another reason why I'm I look at I look at all these systems around us. And that was another question that I wanted to ask you earlier, which was about like talking a little bit more about, or elaborating on, you brought up the point of there being basically like systems, right, that oppress people, and I wanted you to elaborate a little bit on that. But the way that I saw it was, these systems are constantly bashing us, they're constantly stripping us of our power, they're constantly crippling us, right? So we do all of this to our children, and by the time they're 18, we're like, go ahead, experience the world. You're an adult now, you're free. And then you're like, dude, you're like been abused massively
Yeah.
by the system.
Yeah, by many, right? So I think for me, systems are, you know, best described, I think, from early start is school, right? School teaches you, hey, you're gonna work for this amount of hours, and then we're gonna give you a lunch break, and then you could go off, and then you'll have more work to do at home. So it kind of sets it up to where, like, how's this different from a 9 to 5? It's not different from a 9 to 5. It's the same thing, right? You got a 30-minute lunch, you get two 10-minute breaks, and then you get to go off. And then depending on how well you did work, or how well you performed a certain task, then that's when you get compensated for it, right? So I think that's the biggest system. That when I talk about systems, that's one of the biggest ones, right? School in general, even though I went to college, I still recognize it as a system, right? It's a lot of knowledge that benefit us as people, right? For instance, like, I don't know why I needed to take geometry. Like, I'm not looking at shapes the same way that a geometrist is looking at it, or a mathematician's looking at it, right? Why do I need to know those why do I need to know those angles? Why can't it be a bottle, right? So you start learning these things, and then even within academia, you start hearing like police brutality. You start hearing all these bigger terms to intersectionality, all these big words that really could break down to simple science. It's like police brutality is police are beating the shit out of somebody, right? Intersectionality, we all have things that are in common. Like, we could break these down into layman's term, but we're performing for an audience that isn't our audience, like shouldn't be our audience, I say, right? So yeah, so I mean, we can have a full day's discussion about, the different systems that affect us, but I think, the way we're held down, the way that also, like, I see society as a system as well too, right? As men, we're taught that we have to be the providers, we have to do all these things, and you can't complain about it, you can't do this about it, and then vice versa. Then that slowly affects you to where you start lashing out on people, of course, who end up being the people who love you the most, right? That's why you have, domestic violence numbers the way they are. That's why you have all these things. There's a sense of frustration, and then you have no outlet to do it, to express yourself, and then you just implode, right? Or now you have folks with a large majority of anxiety, because society is telling us that we have to go to school, we have to do these things, and then we have to get a job, and then you're stuck paying your student loans, and now you're kind of SOL, right? Figuring it all out, and then you have to work a 9 to 5, and you have to do all these things that are telling you that you have to do these things, right? But now in my age, I've come to realize that these are systems that are in play, but now you just have to navigate through them, whatever that may mean to you. But I think, to me, it's just like, all right, while I'm here, I can't really complain much, because complaining is not going to take me anywhere. Complaining for anything is not, if I'm complaining and not willing to change, shit's not going to like, it's not going to change on its own. So you have to, although there's these things that are systematically in place, like, I think folks get frustrated because they're like, well, I can't do anything. I'm like, yeah, you can. There's a lot you can do. Buy your own plot of land. Why do we rely on the current food industry to give us our food when we could grow our own food? And people are like, oh, it's because the soil's messed up. I'm like, then put a greenhouse, get a grow box, put healthy soil into that grow box, and grow your own food from there. Or your own weed, whatever whatever you indulge in. But there's things that you can do for yourself that are self-autonomous, but there's also the systems that play into role where most folks are renting, right? Most brown and black folks are renters. That's who we are. We haven't been told that we can own stuff, but I think we hold on to all these ideas of even being in a house. It, to me, is absurd. Like, I've always hated being inside. Like, I like to be outside. The sun's hitting my face, the wind's hitting my face. You're experiencing everything your body's supposed to experience. But once you put yourself in a box in the house, you're in a box. It's not a natural thing to do, but people still think it's a natural thing to do, and it's something that you want to attain, right? Everybody wants a house with a yard, with all these things, but like me and my girlfriend are like, I want to farm. Like at the end, like when I'm old and retired, like I want to farm. Why? Because I could be self-autonomous for the most part, minus having to pay taxes in this country. Or you could also move to a different country where you don't have to pay property taxes and you could grow your own food. You can get a few chickens and it's more self-sustaining. But I think people think that it's cheap, right? And then you have obviously like fashion industry as a thing, right? As a whole different system of telling people how you should dress, how you should, what you should wear, what you should do with all these things. When all in all, we should be navigating these things. Like I still shop at Ross, and I'm like, I'm cool. Like I feel like I dress fresh, and people are like,
Stable
"Oh,
luck, man.
yeah." People are like, "Oh, like where'd you get that?" I'm like, "I got this shit at Ross." Like I'm not gonna pay no $100 for some Calvin Klein thing. Like you got me, for lack of better words, you got me fucked up. Like
All the way fucked up.
all the way fucked up. So I think we have to like genuinely think about, hey, what do we like, right? Is it do I like this because a homie likes it? Do I like it because a collective of people like it? Like who tells me who tells me what I should do and what I should wear? So yeah, that's a little bit about the systems and how they may affect yours or whatnot.
Bro, I think you dropped mad science in the regard of operating in a self-autonomous way, right? In the city, it's very difficult, but there's ways. I forgot the name of the individual, but this dude had a video where he constantly said, a TEDx video where he constantly said, let's grow some shit. Are you familiar with that guy?
No,
Okay.
I'm not, to be honest.
Well, his whole theory and his practice is turning South Central and all of the concrete, right, into, as far as the concrete where people walk on the sidewalks, I mean, specifically turning the sidewalks into farms, right, where everyone, bro, when he said that shit just fucking opened up my mind so much. And it's when I really started questioning the fact that America, or I should say the United States specifically, is operating, especially big time cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Detroit, places like this, like we're still stuck in the 50s, right? Where like if you have a house, you want to have like a nice patch of grass. And I'm like, look, man, I love the grass, but that shit ain't doing nothing for me. Right?
Yeah.
So we're throwing away our precious water, right, into the grass for nothing when we can all choose to uproot all of it and start planting vegetables, start planting fruit trees, start planting things that we can feed each other off of, right? And if the soil is not the best soil, I'm sure we can find certain technologies, certain things that can clean them as much as possible, right? And we got to start somewhere, right? It's 2022. And if a lot of us took on this idea seriously, which probably won't happen, right? I'm being hella idealistic. We could feed each other, bro. Like literally, right? Fuck food for less. The food there's fucking trash. I still go when I have to, right? I'd rather go to Trader Joe's, right? But it's a lot more fucking expensive too. And I have a cool job, right? I could fucking afford my shit. But what about everybody else? They can't, right? But if we were all growing together as a community, we could literally feed each other and it would be organic and we will know who's growing it. And it would be community, it would be sustainable by the community, right? The community would sustain itself. There would be seasons, there'd be different opportunities, man. So, bro, obviously, if you were in a farm, right, maybe like Central California or somewhere, right, where it's like rich land and it's obviously clean, that's a bright move, bro. I think about that a lot. There's a brother by the name of Ben X right now. They're more by they're like Texas Bible Belt type stuff, but they're currently right now like they're like people who became like millionaires and now they're creating communities for mainly Black folks to own the land, right? So that they're able to sustain the land, right? Feed each other. And like these are these little moments, right? These eureka moments where we're like, okay, stop complaining, like you said, right? Let's bridge our resources together. And now we're creating different pockets of life with richer resources where, sure, fuck it, we're operating within the system, but I promise you, we can do things different if we choose to do so, right? We're a different generation. We have different leadership skills. We have different ideas. We don't have to crush each other, right? We don't have to be fucking greedy. We don't have to be trash. I can totally respect your work and pay your work what it really is supposed to be paid, right? And so we can do is we can really elevate each other, man. And then school, I love how you said, like, what's the difference between school and the 9 to 5? And I was like, damn, bro. And like, fools like me, bro, I'm a teacher, so like, I'm still in school, man.
Yeah. And then like, it's funny because when I thought about that concept, I was watching the pilot to Rick and Morty, and they were talking about that, right? Like the whole system of school and how that to work, and then it's your everyday life, and then at the end you get to retire, and then you enjoy the last 15 years of your life, right? if that
right
if that. So I think for me, we could even take your idea of feeding each other a step further. I think we could also house each other, right? So we all get tax returns, right? Your tax returns are like what, 2K at least, or roughly around there, like average.
You get lucky. Yeah, for sure. I feel like
on average,
some people get more, whatever, or less.
Exactly. 2K, you get 40 people, that's 80K. You come the whole project. 20 people, there's 20 people in your hood. There's 20 people on your block.
Like,
right? Collectively we can, but there's competition. It's always a competition thing. Always a competition. So for me, I mean, competition is good when it's needed, right? That's how I feel about competition. But when it comes to like trying to thrive and push a whole people towards something collectively, there's really no room for competition. If anything, there's room for collaboration, and collaboration can always help each other improve. That I think that's where we have to start looking at it. Like, what's collaboration instead of competition? Competition is very individualistic, and there's like also an African proverb. It says, I think it's like, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go further, you go together. Right? Yeah, it's gonna be slower, but you're already at age what? We're already at the age that we're at. Right? So it's like, what the fuck do we have to lose? But
right.
That's also a privilege to think that way, because certain folks can't, there's undocumented folks who don't get tax returns. There's undocumented folks who don't get all these benefits back. But if we were hiring our own people and creating our own job sources and creating our own workforce, then we can submit an application to the US and be like, yeah, he's on a work visa through us, through a legal binding
corporation,
right? But then on the other side of things, I think a lot of activists are also, there's a fear from activists or people who are inspired by activists, because you've seen what this government will do to the leaders in these spaces, right? I think when I first met you and the homie SGN, right? I'm getting that right. Yeah. So I brought up Reyes Tijerina. So this is a man who was fighting along different coalitions, right? So he was in the the Poor People's Party, a bunch of different things, right? At the same time that, the early rumblings of Black Panther parties, MLK, right? All these protests, Cesar Chavez. So this man started his own community in New Mexico, right? But then the government said, hey, your kids have to go to our school. Your kids have to do these things. Now you're breaking the law. Now we're going to go inside and fuck up your whole shit. And that's what evidently happened. Like, they went into these places and they fucked up everything. They trashed their houses. They brought them down because we weren't playing into the system of what it was, right? But that's not to say we can't accredit our own schools and bring in our own people. It's just the way that we navigate, right? There's hella people who want to be teachers within our communities who go into this whole thing don't get a lot of money when they're coming out of college. And I'm like, so what do you have to lose? You're already not getting paid shit. What's the difference between trying to navigate that, stack up your bread, and then starting your own school? And now you can actually accredit it. And now the government has no other right but to fund you, right? Like all these structures in place, like we could say like we should burn this shit down, like burn all the systems, burn, like, yeah, we could do that. But then how do we start back up when we don't have the capital on the back end, right? There's also foods who have to be those foods. Like I work in corporate America and I understand all these things. And for me, it's like I'm putting myself in here so that I could learn to use this to our advantage. You know, I work in affordable housing. There's so many corporations that don't pay taxes because they buy tax credits off of us. You know, why can't that be us? Right? It's because there's hidden knowledge, right? You can't know everything, but you can know what the fuck happened last week on whatever show, or you know this thing, or you have Netflix, or you have, so there's a lot of distractions within itself too that I think play a large role into things. It's like but that's okay too. Like you don't need everybody to be the leader. You don't need everybody to step up. Like you don't need but people think you need everyone collectively to do it. It's like you need the support from the people, but you don't need everybody making decisions for everybody. You definitely have to hear out people, like, because that's where shit gets fucked up. That's where the translation of needs and wants kind of gets fucked up, right? When you don't talk to your people and say, hey, what would you like here? What would you like there? What makes sense as a collective community that we put in this space, right? But it's a balance. But we have to slowly start having these conversations, right? These conversations should be happening. We should be doing conferences. We should be doing seminars, as small as they may be. It's a start, right? People are always so fixated on like, it's not going to be perfect. And I'm like, why don't we just take progression over perfection and then see where this goes?
I love that line, progression over perfection. Plus, I already said it earlier, we are perfect, man. We are obviously, like, there's going to be the nitpickers and they're going to say, well, your show doesn't have this. Your mic sucks. You have no green screen. Now I'm going to just say, fuck you, because I have MiRage with me and we're having a wonderful conversation that's about building a goddamn nation, right? And so I think that's a wonderful point, bro, that is worth reiterating. And it is working within the boundaries to create something that cannot be stripped away from us because we're not playing by the rules. That's the way shit is, right? To the next point, you know, SGN and I are beginning to write our second book. Oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Who fucking cares, right? So one of the chapters, for me, I'm calling it fuck school, right? As a fucking teacher, right? And it's because I want us to teach what you're telling us right now, right? Imagine, bro, we have second and third graders and we're telling them about the importance of creating their LLCs so that they can go ahead and have a whole like head start, right? So that by the time that they're 18, now they're more likely to be way more free, economically speaking, than we were, right? We took the education route because that was pretty much our best opportunity, right? And I'm blessed for taking that route. But the truth and the reality is that everything we're teaching right now in high schools, the majority of what we're teaching at least, is completely outdated, completely irrelevant, unrelatable, not culturally relevant at all. And it's not helping us create a strong nation of individuals for us folks who grew up in a marginalized setting. So, you know, thank you very much for bringing that up, because hopefully more people can start being like, wow, that's interesting. Maybe I never really thought about doing my own thing, but utilizing the weapons that the system gives you and then just turning it around. And you don't even have to use it against them. Just use it to benefit yourself, right? And before you know it, now you have strength. Now you have real power, right? Now we can make a change. And oftentimes I think we choose not to. But it comes from ignorance, because how am I going to start a business if I've never had a person in my life that is business minded who has had success, right? Because success matters. Mentorship from successful people matters. I can try to mentor a young person, but I've never had a successful business, right? So I'm ultimately not going to be the best mentor in that situation, right? So seeking out all of these different alternatives is super important. I do want to show the audience right now real quick some of your songs. You're good with that, bro?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. Check this out. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I got you.
All right.
I'm moving.
Yes, I'm searching for truth. Like if no one hears my shit, do I still got a voice? If I'm smoking on this loud, will it quiet the noise?
Bro, I absolutely love that line where you said, if nobody hears my shit, do I still have a voice? When what were you feeling and what were you thinking?
At that point, like, I still consider my music career very early. And I've been doing this seriously since 28, the end of 2018, so 4 years, right? But I also did poetry. I also did a bunch of things. So for me, it's like I'm saying a bunch of shit in my music, but nobody's listening. Like, so that's why I said, like, if no one hears my shit, do I still have a voice? Does it still matter? Is it still like worth me? I wouldn't say wasting breath, but more so like, is it worth me communicating all these things that hold truth to myself and that could translate into other spaces? Like, is it worth it? So that's the space I was in. I was like, man, fools, like, like I go to shows and it's the same thing. Fools are talking about drugs, alcohol, girls, and all these things in very demeaning ways. And to me, I'm just like, I don't rock like that. Like, I make it a thing to not use derogatory or to ever talk about women, because I'm like, I don't have to talk about y'all. Like, y'all can talk about yourselves. Like, you can represent yourself. So for me, it's just like, the things that matter. So yeah, I remember when I wrote that down, I was just like, if no one hears my shit, do I still got a voice? And then the next line goes, if I'm smoking on loud, will it quiet the noise? Right. So you're talking about it's something deeper there too, right? So it's just like all these things, like if all these things, and then I think at one point I say, like, if the hood had more funds, would the bullets still fly? So I think for me, it's like, how do we think about things differently if we don't choose to think about different? Like, as direct as that is, it's like people are like, oh, why don't we see change? I'm like, do you think different? Are you doing things differently? How are you expecting different outcomes with different approach, like with not trying different approaches or different inputs? Like, you got to try different shit to get different shit. It's not like, I think that everybody quotes this, but it's like an Albert Einstein quote of like, uh, doing the same thing and expecting a different result is insanity.
Hmm.
Right. And that holds truth to me. And that's held truth to the way that I do music, live life. It's like, all right, I'm a big dude, right? So I always complain about my weight because it fluctuates. I always say we're big bone, but there was a certain point I'm like, so what am I doing differently outside of like these things? And that's when I had gone vegan for a little bit and lost a substantial amount of weight, started fasting, started cutting some of the things, and I felt good. So people were like, oh, you're crazy, like you're gonna cut calories from your diet. I'm like, I don't need it. My body does not need it. So if you have a lot of sources, like our ancestors, that's how they used to work. They used to bulk up, get a little chubbier, and they wouldn't have to eat as much. But that was all off of survival. Now we have access to so much food, right? And now we have food deserts though. So it's like all these things that are in excess that we don't think about. So for me, that line, I was like, oh, how am I gonna, how's anything gonna change if I'm not gonna change myself?
And that is so deep and so practical. And it's just like, fam, And this happens, I think, a lot often in relationships, right? Where it's just fucking toxic. And then whatever, you guys break up and bullshit happens, and then you make up because you guys fucked and now it feels great. So it's just like we are too emotional, I think, sometimes about these things, right? And trust me, I'm a huge fan of emotions. They move you, they're beautiful. I'm all about utilizing them and allowing myself to feel these things. But at the same time, there is a certain point where we should be thoughtful, more than emotional. And when we want change, this is where we must be, whether it's social, economic, or personal, we gotta be strategic. We gotta make plans, right? If you never switched your diet, if you never started working out, if you never started, what I'm saying, getting better sleep, maybe cutting these calories here, the sugar there, forget about it, right? You could dream all you want, but if you don't fucking create some type of movement, right, and a plan, and you put all your effort into it and your imagination into it and your manifestations with your hard work and everything, I mean, just let it go, right? So, and it's also very relatable, man, to talk about how, like, damn, am I being heard, right? I know I have something special to give to the world, but who is listening? And I think we just gotta keep pushing, bro. We just gotta keep pushing. And I feel like whether through my book or through my podcast or my classrooms, we always make a difference, bro. We always make a difference. It may not be the grandest revolutionary change that we seek, but that one human, right? Let's say there's one person, and this is one of those cliches as well, where that one person can be that person who changes something drastically, right? That crazy, beautiful visionary that completely changes the game. I want to go ahead and play this one now.
Riding in the streets, cruising with the windows open. Words on top of beats, now that's poetry in motion. Sun across my face, now I'm feeling so golden. I celebrate with a little weed and potion. Riding in the streets, cruising with the windows open. Words on top of beats, now that's poetry in motion. Sun across my face, now I'm feeling so golden. I celebrate with a little weed and potion.
I love the ending, by the way.
Oh yeah, the skit the skit we did at the end.
That was hella funny. Man, y'all in the pool. The party was good, man. This song, I loved how you spoke about, rolling down the windows, doing your thing, and calling it poetry in motion, and I think that's a beautiful metaphor for life. Can you speak on this one?
Yeah, so this was fun. I think for me, I'm currently working on a project, and this was originally going to be on that project, but it's no longer on it. But um, for me, I had been going through like really bad anxiety, really bad depression for like 2 years prior to the creation of that video. So for me, I'm like, damn, I'm fucking tired. Going back to like, if you want to change shit, like if you want things to be different, you got to change the way you approach things. So for me, it was like, damn, I feel this way all the time now. And then that was like a challenge for myself. Is like, well, what do you find like joy in? Like, what are the small things that do? And I consume cannabis. Like, I'm a big proponent to cannabis use, responsible cannabis use at that. Um, and for me, it's just like those are the little things, the little joys, just like from East or just from LA, bro. Like just cruising down the street with your windows open in the summertime, like just catching that little breeze that hits in pockets. Like that's the joy that I got. And then also recognizing, I think there's a part that I said in that song that goes, my father about to finally own the family's very first home. Right. So I'm talking about that. Like my dad's like 5 years away from paying off his mortgage. So like,
Congratulations, man.
thank that. Like, for me, like, because of that man, I've known home to be home. Like, I've never known any other house, which is another blessing, right? So,
That's
and then
love.
there's power in ownership. So I had to recognize that, like, it may not be directly me, but it's like, it's my pops. Like, it's somebody who I'm an extension of. It's somebody who I remember eating wick. So I have another song that I'm working on, and it goes, I remember days eating on the wick, huevo con weenie, a bowl of some kicks.
Mm.
My parents were grinding while raising 6 kids, right? So, like, it was 6 people. It's like 6 kids plus them 2, and then my grandma used to live with us, so it was 9 of us. So, like, I saw this fool get laid off during 2008, during the economic crash, and then years afterwards. This fool worked like different. He's a truck driver, so he worked at Bimbo. He worked at different companies like ABF, Roadway, YRC, JB Hunt, all these different things. So for me, when I wrote So Golden, I was like, yo, there's so much joy in all these little things because we come from struggle. Although I do believe, people find beauty in struggle, but there's also beauty in just not being struggling all the time, right? There's this romanticization of being poor, coming from nothing. Be like, why do we have to come from nothing, bro? Like, why can't we set the building blocks for something greater than ourselves? And that for me is like, my dad's owning a home. He is already setting those blocks for whoever comes after us, and change, right? And in the space that I work in, it's a lot of real estate involved. So, like, we've been strategically talking about how we can own more property, not just for the sake of the family's sustenance, but how we can do this for other folks. And, like, so slowly, right? But we're slowly talking about this. Doesn't matter that it's slow, it just matters that it's happening. So that song, So Golden, for me was like, look at all the things that are still happening, you know even though, like, in the beginning, I go, I'm from the city where the rent's hella high, where the aroma in every corner got you smelling the high.
Mm.
I'm just a kid from the hood with a dream of going across. Like, there's so many things that we can attain, but people want it now, right? You want it now. So even the beat was slowed down. So for me, and then I got to connect with the Viva Mezcal, who's another fucking dope artist from East LA, and that fool's been on the come up. So then to get his blessing and to have that fool on it, like, he's one of my favorite artists. I actually went to a show out yesterday where I competed, and he also was performing, right? So it's all these things. It's like, for me, so long, I was like, I want to be an artist. Like, I want to make music. But it's like, all right, then go do it, fool. Like, nothing
Yeah.
stopping you.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from listening to beats on YouTube and writing music. And slowly, as you gravitate towards those spaces, you'll end up meeting more people in those spaces.
Mm.
And then so forth. You start building your network out, and then you get to start working with people. And then you're like, oh, where do you record at? And they're like, oh, this place. It's pretty affordable. It's like not that bad. You want to put we decide where we want to put our chips at. Like, we forget how much there's a lot of power, spending power within Latino communities. But what do we put it in? We put it in Fabuloso. Some folks put it in Goya, but I fucking hate Goya. That shit is disgusting. But fools will put it into like little things when, like, we can make all these things and we don't have to spend so much money on it. And, like, I think that's another place that I think about is, like, how do we become not just financially responsible, but culturally responsible in response to the economics?
Well, that's quite brilliant, man. And I think Malcolm used to talk about that, where he would be like, obviously, no disrespect to the following ethnic groups that I'm bringing up. I'm just reiterating what Malcolm said, right? In the Black communities in Detroit, there was a lot of Jewish families that would own businesses in Black neighborhoods, and the money never circulated back to Black people, right? And that's just an example, right? No negativity towards Jews, but what, to your point, right? It's like, let's be responsible in aiding, like, our families' businesses, right? And I think that's a huge point that our group economics has not been where we can, and there's even like famous white people such as like Gary V that is like, yo, like Latinos have to have next, you know, it's just a numbers game. And so as soon as we get clever, you know, we're like, damn, bro, we're feeding too much into all these senseless pockets, right? Like it's like you said, bro, instead of getting our annual tax return and buying some dumbass Gucci or Versace or whatever fucking nonsense bullshit is out there, think about possibly making an investment with your friends, with your family, and man, and honestly, like hoping for the best, right? Because maybe some people have some really fucked up egos, and you know, whatever. You always got to understand that in business, your money is not a guaranteed return. So it might be a gamble, higher depending on where you're investing your money. But
Gucci.
right, that's the greatest investment, bro. But you know, for you, bro, to be able to, you know, make music with one of your favorite artists with a sick ass name. I don't know about Mezcal, but you know, I like the name and the fact that you're able to connect right with this space of people that you clearly have a passion for, and you're clearly talented at working your creativity within that pocket, right? Music, and it's truly a beautiful thing, bro. I feel like once you start living your purpose, like your truest purpose, you get to connect in meaningful ways with the people that are meant to be in your life without trying really hard. And it feels so good, bro, to just like bump into each other, you know? You and I, me and SCN, we were just selling our book and we just bumped into each other. And, you know, we didn't really try hard about anything. It was just like, hey, what's up? Oh, damn, we kind of, you know, have similar thoughts, ideas, and visions. And, you know, well, I think it's only natural that, you know, we elaborate and build and, you know, create deeper extended parts of our family, right? For many, many different reasons. I mean, you can use me for whatever resource you can, or I can use you, right? Or you create a business and, you know, you damn must believe that, better believe that I'm gonna be there to support it, right? Whether from a distance or in person or with money or whatever, right? And it's like this creation, this of genuine support, bro, is something that I think we're different about, bro. I think our generation is very, very much just so much less greedier than people in the past. I mean, obviously that we still have that, right? Like it's, I'm not too sure if there's a lot of socialization involved or like some nature, but I'm not trying to ignore those ugly parts of our human experience. But like you said, we have a choice, right? Like if I have a choice between helping or doing somebody dirty, I like to believe that, you know, 7 out of 10 times I'm gonna choose helping, right? And it's my personal choice. I don't want to impose that onto anyone. But what I do want to do is live in that way and inspire people to be like, yo, did you really just do that because you wanted to? Yeah, I don't know. Consider trying it, right? You try it and you're like, you, that's actually kind of cool, you know? And I, dude, I've been in service to humans for a very, very long time in my life. And even though there are some really dark days where you don't feel appreciated, where you don't feel loved, where you feel like you're not walking your purpose, those are moments, bro. Those are emotions. That's our ego. And when all this shit just joins up together, it feels like someone's smacking you in the head with a brick, right? But it too will pass.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and even to your note of like, well, just to elaborate on what you were talking about, even, you know, us just meeting each other, like that was through music for me, right? So if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have met y'all. I wouldn't have met the many people that I meet. So I think for me, it's just like, yeah, like you said, the more you live in your purpose, the more you meet the people that you want to meet, right? Or just so happen to be put into your life for whatever reason, right? Whether you believe in a higher purpose or not, like there's definitely a reason behind meeting folks. And like, you know, sometimes I trip out. I'm like, damn, I wanted to do this, and I said I was gonna do this like 2 years ago. Now I'm doing it. This shit's crazy, right? But it's because it's a mindset thing, right? Once you put your mind to like doing all these things, it becomes easier to do everything else. Like things will just come. It seems like it comes to you, but it's like you're putting the work in. You're putting the work in so that whenever the opportunity arises or whatever events you're going to, like you already automatically are like tapped into that thing. And I see it as a spiritual thing, right?
Mm.
Anytime I do music, it's like it's the only space in which I can create something that doesn't have a direct cause to something, if that makes sense, right? Meaning like we can't have well, I biologically cannot have children, right? So I cannot create something like pure outside of music. So for me, that's what music is. I have all of the tools, and I have the purpose to create whatever I want out of nothing, out of thin air, you know, literally thin air, right? You know, these ideas come to your mind, whether it be musically, whether it be, you know, I don't know, when you engage with your students, maybe, right? There's some thoughts that float there. You're like, well, where is that coming from? That's, well, it's coming from life, but it also almost at some point seems like it's magic because it's just these thoughts that come to you, and then you go on a tangent and you're like, you're starting to write shit down. You're like, this. Even writing the book, you feel me? Like that came out of experiences, but outside of that, it's like it's coming out of whatever you're tapped into, right? So for me, it's like living out of purpose, serving others is the best way to go about things. And I'm in a complete alignment with that frame of thinking. I think the other thing is like, just how do you want to envision things down the line? Not just for you, but for others. I mean, first we got to focus on you, right? If you're not good, you can't help nobody. If you're not, if you know, sick, it's this. I use this metaphor. It's like, or yeah, there's not a metaphor, but I use this like, you know, linguistic thing. I say sick people can't take care of sick people,
Mm.
right? A damaged person can't really take care 100% fully, right? You can't take care of another person fully to 100% unless you're 100%. And that's not to say that you'll never feel more than 100%, because I believe that's when you start doing things out of service, right? Once you're 100% good, that little left over, you end up giving to people. And that becomes an addicting feeling to some degree, because you're like, I'm creating more change outside of just myself. And it feels good. Why? Because that shit, regardless of your intention, like that shit just comes back to you tenfold, regardless of whether you're trying to get anything out of it. But most of the time, when you're not trying to get anything out of it, there's a genuine connection, and then you get all these things in return, right? So I think for me, it's like, for music, when I do music, it's a genuine feeling that I have, and tenfold. People will ask me, like just off that one event that I went to yesterday, somebody hit me up for another event, and then they're like, "Fool, we're gonna put you on the next lineup." So it's like, you know, off the strength of just showing up,
Mm.
like that's I think that's the number one thing. Like showing up, period, is the biggest step first. Whether that be showing up for yourself, showing up for the homie, showing up for your family, or showing up for your community. Showing up is the first step. Everything else it will come, but I think you just have to be open to the ideas of things just coming to you. Folks are like, all right, this is what's gonna happen. And then you become like, when you have a plan that's 100, like doesn't have any room to breathe. When I mean it's not flexible, right?
Mm.
This is gonna happen, then this is gonna happen, this is gonna, then this, then this, then this. It never ends up happening that way. And then now that person becomes a little bitter, right? Oh, or somebody says something to them and they get upset, and it's just like, but when you take it to the other approach, it's like, and you're more open, and you're showing up for people, and somebody tells you something, and somebody you showed up for, and somebody who showed up for you, and you may not like it at first, but then you realize you know, then you come to realization like it's constructive. And now I like to say, you know, don't be bitter, be better, right? There's constructive criticism. Like you don't have to be bitter about it. Just be better. Like just get better at whatever it is. Like, you know, not everybody starts off great when they start rapping.
Mm.
Not everybody's a Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G. You feel me?
Mm.
Um, but even him, probably, you know, we don't know what he was doing behind the scenes. we're just seeing the finished products of a lot of things, of a lot of work that he was putting into. You know, same thing with all these artists. But you know, like I said, first step is showing up.
I like that, bro, because it takes courage. It takes a lot of motherfucking. I was gonna say huevos, and then I was like, what about people that don't have huevos? You know what I mean? Like, it's
Well,
courage,
technically everybody has huevos, right?
just in different formats, right?
In different forms, but they're still huevos.
Some are inside and some are outside. But like the courage, bro, like to do something, especially like get on a fucking stage, bro, and rap. So like my ultimate respect to musicians, right? Whether it's singing, rapping, or whatever style, and like comedians, right? And I think personally, I think comedy is maybe there's different dynamics, right? Like with music, I feel it's easier for us, the public, to be drawn into the music, right? Just because like we're just animals, right? And I don't know if you ever seen videos of like cows with music and they're just like drawn to it. And it's the same way with us. Like it has this inner thing that just moves us, and we're just like, hey, I don't know why I'm dancing, bro, but I like it, right? Comedy, that shit has to be fucking funny, right? Like I can't just show up and fucking talk and then like everyone's gonna be like, boo, you know, start throwing fucking tomatoes and shit. And so I love the fact that you have to show up, bro, but I want you to tell people like how much effort you put in behind the scenes, you know, to be able to have that confidence. Because like there's a difference between like I think there's a phony confidence where you haven't done shit but you show up, right? And you're a liar. You're a pathological liar. And the people get away with a lot of shit. We've seen it throughout history, right? Whether you're faking a doctor, faking a businessman, or fake whatever. What does it take, bro? What is the behind the scenes work that it takes for you to show up genuinely confident?
I think part of it, you have to sort of be that delusional person. Like there's some delusion in it. Like we're like, I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna do like, you know, and that's where some people can get caught up, right? Where they're like, I'm the shit, and then they come up and they're like, nothing happens, right? Or they choke on stage, or they get nervous. Like I still get nervous as hell. Like yesterday, I wear my Fitbit, check my steps and shit. And I was like ready to perform, to participate in the contest, and I'm looking at my heart rate. The shit's like 150. I'm like, God damn, I'm not even running. Like this is crazy, right? But it's just the adrenaline rush
That's real shit,
right? But for me is I'm always writing, or I'm always trying to write, right? That's the number one thing is like trying and doing, right? And then Viva Mescala was the one who told me, he's like, I'm trying, stop saying you're trying and just say you're doing. So I like that shifted my thinking after a while, and stop saying hope, because hope's gonna get you nowhere. Like that's what I have heard, right? Hope gets you nowhere at an individual level. I think hope as a construct for the masses is a good thing, right? It's a thing that keeps you alive. But on an individualistic level, for yourself, hope only goes so far. You have to be action based, right? So for me, is like I try to write, at least I make it a thing to try to write one verse a week. I work 9 to 5. I get tired. I do content creation off of all that stuff. I'm working on an album. I'm working on like all these things. So for me, it's just being consistent, but also drawing back, taking a break. That's what folks need to also realize. Like you can't just go, because it's not sustainable. Just like with working out, you can't work out 7 days out of the week if you're just starting off. Right? You're gonna burn out.
Well, you can, but it might not turn out too good for you.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's just like you got to be patient, which is still hard for me at times. And then when I have a show and I know that I'm going to perform and I'm going to show out, I'm rehearsing at least a week to a week and a half every day. Repetition. I'll do it in my car. I'll like rehearse my verses in my car. Even now, because studio time's expensive, I'll write a whole song, rehearse. That way, when I go to the booth, I kill it. I just take 30 minutes to do a song. And now I'm like spending my time wisely, and now I could work on another track, and now I could save money here and there because I'm not just in the booth, not prepared. So I think for me, it's just like the repetition is a big thing for me. I freestyle in the car, so I'll throw on YouTube beats and just freestyle as much as I can. And then just collaborating for me, right? That's the biggest thing. But if it's one thing that's helped me, pushed me to be able to perform, is just doing it like every day, doing something related to music every day, like. And people are like, "Damn, I don't have that much time." I'm like, "Fool, you spend 30? Do you spend how much time on Netflix?" And I'm at fault too.
Better tell him.
I'm at fault too. But you got to take those mental health days, right?
I
You gotta,
believe that too.
yeah, you got to balance everything. So I think that's the biggest thing is just like create balance, something sustainable, and then work on that sustainability, right? And then everything will come. But just be consistent, make sure it's sustainable, just like with dropping weight, just like with gaining muscle. Do something sustainable. Don't burn yourself out for 3 hours the first day and then now you're sore and now you haven't done anything for like a week and a half, right? I think people think that they have to do everything now, and I used to be one of those people, right? Where I'm like, everything has to happen now, 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 and I'm like, bro, I'm like 27. People are still like, you have a whole life ahead of you, and then for me, like off of that rip, it's just like I said, just every day doing something. Doesn't have to be the greatest thing, because 100 of the shots that you're shooting, you're not gonna make all of them, but you're taking them. That's practice that other folks aren't putting in. And for me, that's been the thing that's driving me. That's been the passion and the purpose have been the biggest thing. Like whatever your purpose is, find it. And I think earlier I was saying like there's fools who like shit because their homies like it, because society likes it, because all these things. Find out what the fuck you like. See if you could do something with it and just do it every day. Whether it be, fools now, like I'm a big NFT fool now because I've been doing the research and I've been, playing around, but it's like, I wouldn't be able to have been able to do that if I wasn't just doing it. Just do it. You're going to make mistakes. We're human. We're not like you said, we're all perfect. In that perfection, we're all going to make mistakes. Like it's inevitable. You got to get rid of that fear of I'm going to fuck up. You're going to fuck up. A lot of us used to say the N-word before we went to college. You're not going to be perfect. Or what you say is not going to be perfect all the time. Like you're going to have to make mistakes and you're going to have to buck up and keep pushing. Like that's the way I try to live my life. Obviously, like I don't want to hurt people. Like, so I always put that in the forefront. If it's not hurting me or hurting people, then do it. If at that point I think it's not going to hurt anybody, but sometimes even those things can hurt people, right? But it's inevitable. You're gonna make mistakes. Like we're human, but we're so also wrapped up into cancel culture. I don't want to be canceled. I don't want to be this, that, or the other. And cancel culture has been very toxic. I do believe in accountability. Like, you have to. You brought up Kanye earlier. I'm like, this fool says a bunch of shit, but he still has to be accountable for the shit he says. Whether he chooses to be or not is on him, right? But we're all gonna make mistakes. Even that fool's gonna make mistakes. Fucking Obama made hella mistakes. Like all these things, we're human. It's in human nature that we're gonna fuck up and fall. Right? When you're learning how to ride a bike, you're gonna fucking fall. When you're learning how to walk for the first time, you're gonna fucking fall. Like, but you have to like realize that you have to learn from those falls, and then you get stronger. It's just like when they say you break a bone and it gets stronger when you come back. It's the same concept to life. Like, shit's gonna happen. We're human. Inevitably, we all fucking die. Once you get rid of that fear, then you can really like tackle everything else. I think, right? That's how I see things. It's like, all right, what's the worst that can happen? I die. All right, cool. I'm not even gonna know when that happens. So am I gonna live in that fear the whole time? Am I gonna, that's where I put my mind into things, right? Like when I perform, is like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna forget my lyrics, and then what? People aren't gonna fuck with it, and then what? Can I do it again? Yeah, you could do it again, and you could get better. and you can keep doing it, even if you're the shittiest fool in the beginning, like, you know, and then shit just ends up polishing. And then you also start listening to people who are being constructive with you, right? That's a balance too, ignoring some folks and listening to some folks, right? Like if some fool who doesn't make music told me some shit, I'd be like, cool, whatever. As opposed to somebody who's successful in music, I'm gonna pay a little more attention to that, right? I think we also have to weigh things out. Like, does it really matter? Does it not? Like your mom being mad at you for not taking out the trash. Are you gonna ponder on that thing? Like, my mom doesn't like me right now. Like, she's not gonna like me for the next. No, like your mom's gonna forgive you for within the hour. She's probably gonna tell you like, come eat.
Mhm.
Right. So I think we have to start not being afraid. And that's a hard thing to do, but I think the step on not being afraid is failing. Like, or understanding that you will always fail. Once you become okay with that, you could do like literally everything with its limitations, but you could do literally everything.
I agree, bro. And it's a muscle, that strength to be able to ignore the fear, because the fear always comes. It's one of those shadows, right? Where it's part of yourself, right? So you just have to understand that as much as a part as it is of you, the more you fight it, the more you work against it, the stronger you become. And it's one of those things, bro, that has brought me so much peace in my own life, where I'm at a point right now, bro. I'm 28, but I already feel like I got to the point where a lot of 50 and 60-year-olds are at, where I don't give a single fuck, bro, about like society's perception of me. Like it's my desire so strongly to be free that I want to show people what I am inside and outside. And if you don't like it, that's okay, right? Like, it's not disrespectful. If you don't want me to be a part of your group, tell me, right? I'm not offended. I'm not hurt. And on the contrary, that's critique, right? You were talking about listening to certain people, right? And utilizing constructive feedback, right? To build yourself versus someone who's just hating. There's a difference, man. And it's in your tone, it's in your delivery, it's in the constructiveness of your language, right? There's a difference between that third stanza was kind of soft, bro. And somebody being like, oh man, you be rapping about that fucking weekend shit, man. Nobody wants to hear about, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different, right? Right. So, second of all, having developed that strength, right, to repel the fear allows you to better navigate, right? When you start getting all of this energy, right, and it's just boom, 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 and the more experience you become, the more views your shit's gonna get, right? And the more views you get, automatically is gonna expose you to a whole fucking field of piranhas, that don't give a fuck. They're just toxic fools, and they're gonna be like, oh, this and that, right? So I think I was gonna ask you that question. I was like, hey, bro, well, what do what game do you have to offer to like younger people that are pursuing music? But you answered it, without me even having to ask you that, right? So that was your own premonition of my future questions. So, thank you, man, for sharing that, bro, because that's real game, man. You're like, success isn't all just fucking clean and peachy, like, bro, I'm about it, bro. I'll fucking get my hands dirty, like, that's why as a former athlete, for me, it's such a beautiful thing to have struggled so much to be able to get to the places where I did, when it came down to sports, because it's a real struggle, bro. Injuries, pain, people are trying to fucking get your head off. You know what I'm saying? So being able to fight, man, fighting, courage, repelling your fear. Those are all super instrumental tools, man, that we need to be able to utilize to be able to self-actualize and be able to, be better versions of ourselves. Here's a kind of like a crazy question, but I've made it a tradition in my show. When you think about this, what do you think is the meaning of life?
I think it's meaning of life is just living. Like, I don't know, Dick. It's a loaded question, but yeah, I think it's
Yeah, you're like, I didn't sign up for that one.
Yes, I think the meaning of life is to give it meaning. Right? Like you can give life several meanings, and people have. I think it's just like you give it meaning that matters to you. You give it that like you're the one who controls the meaning of what that life may be, right? So whether you be a poet, whether you be a fucking barista and you brew the sickest fucking cup of coffee and you get fucking hyped and you're like, food, yeah, this shit, do you see the sick ass design? Like you have like find your purpose and just fucking live it. Like just that's the purpose. That's the meaning of life. Finding purpose and just going through it. Like with the ups, the downs, with all the things that you know are gonna come with it. Like just fucking walk your walk, talk your talk. Shit's gonna, and you're gonna learn. And also that the other meaning, the bigger meaning of life for me is growth. Growth. Period. Growth, what however that shit looks like, whether it be ugly, pretty, fucking big, short, whatever it is. It's like that's the biggest meaning of life. Change. You're gonna experience so many fucking things while you're here, but it's like, are you gonna be the same person every time? So for me, it's change and growth are the biggest meanings in life.
Beautiful response. And finally, would you be down to throw a little freestyle for the show? It's on you. It's on you. No pressure.
I could do a freestyle. I could do a written. But
it's on you. I'll give you the go, man, to do. Yeah. And if you want to throw your own beat on your side, you can. Or if you want me, I could find a beat on YouTube on my side. It's up to you, man.
Yeah, I'll do a little acapella that I did yesterday.
Beautiful, man.
So I know food. So it goes from Los Angeles. We're the ones who get it cracking. Mexican and Savi got more swagger than your average from the East. Where sheriffs patrol the streets, some are vegan, so fuck the pigs. I ain't afraid of any beef and helicopters. Always fly above the neighborhood. Oh, shit. Let me start that over.
Let's do it.
From Los Angeles. We're the ones who get it cracking. Mexican and Savi got more swagger than your average from the East. Where sheriffs patrol the streets, some are vegan, so fuck the pigs. I ain't afraid of any beef and helicopters. Always fly above the neighborhood, we build different. So I wish a fucking hater would. We from the land of braceros and the walkouts, the type of shit history books will never talk about. I stand and deliver everything I am proud of. From Pachucos and Pachucas claimed as the brown thugs. My people hustling, do whatever it takes. So we hustle with the drive and I ain't taking no breaks. I put in work for generations before and way after me. You can never put me in a box. I got the master key. These real verses, no GMOs or additives. Just a kid from the city where the madness lives.
Wow. I fucking loved it, man. Standing and delivered. Come on, man. You better keep, man. Honestly, fam, keep talking your shit, man. You know what I mean? Because I hate the fact that there's too much bullshit, man. It's too much bullshit in hip hop. It's too much bullshit in rap. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I love it, when I'm trying to get into my party mode and shit, my ignorant shit. But man, that's how you evolve people, man. That's how you enlighten people, man. It's like SGN and my style, but in rap, in hip hop. And man, we're all a part of this key, like this master key, because a master key opens many doors to the unlocking of our new societies, which will hopefully be a lot more equitable to everyone, man. MiRage, bro, thank you. You know what I'm saying, for chopping it up today, taking and spending your your sweet time and energy with me on this show. Do you have any closing remarks?
Nah, well, just a few. Like if anybody wants to follow me, you can follow me on IG as underscore Mirage Music. You hit the link in the bio, takes you to the YouTube, takes you to the Apple Music, takes you to everything to get access to me. But yeah, you can find me on IG, Twitter as well. I think it's the same thing, underscore Mirage Music. Yeah, man. And if anybody wants to collab, just hit me up. If anybody wants any like recommendations to studios, or if anybody has questions in regards to college experiences, especially for first generation students, like you can hit me up on social media. I'm pretty open to do everything, not everything though, most things with its limitations. But yeah, if y'all have questions, anything, like feel free. I'm a resource, first of all, and then second, I'm a person, so respect the time I was supposed to. Right? It's just as we should respect everybody's time. Yeah, that's pretty much my closing remarks.
Well, thank you for being on the show today.